Hey, what's up? I just want to share with you one of my favorite things to do on recovery for lower. My recovery lower takes place after my max effort lower the following day. One of my favorite movements to do to help speed up my recovery process is Hatfield squats. Hatfield squats, it's very light. I usually don't go above a plate. Um, the amount of weight is not necessary, the movement is. It's almost like a forced stretch for me. I go as wide as I normally would squatting or deadlifting, but I use the bar, the handles that I'm holding on to allow myself to sit back further than I normally would and probably squat a little deeper than I normally would. It's almost, like I said, it's almost like a forced stretch, and I'll do no less than 4 sets of 20, like I said, with no more than a plate on the bar usually. And the weight, more or less, is just to aid and help getting me down through the range of motion. I mean, I could do it with an empty bar, but it just aids in the stretching and the moving through the range of motion with just a little bit of weight on the bar. The weight is irrelevant. I'm not putting weight on the bar to get any sort of gain. Um, I like doing these because it allows me to squat in the full range of motion in my wide stance with none of the negative impact of squatting, but all of the positive impact of squatting. Like, I'm able to squat in my full range of motion, and I'm able to move through it freely, stretching, getting blood flow into the areas that I need to, and there's no negative impact on any of my joints because I'm taking a lot of the brunt in my hands. Like, if you've ever done a Hatfield squat, you have your hands on a bar and the safety bar on your back. So, like I said, it's more or less a forced stretch. It allows you to go through the range of motion of squats with all the positive effects of going through the range of motion and none of the negative, like the stress on the body. I put all of the weight and movement in my back and my hips and my hamstrings and my lower back, like where the squat should be, and it just allows me to stretch. Usually 80 to 100 reps of that. I'm feeling really good. That just aids in my recovery process because I do squat so wide and I do deadlift so wide, and everything on the inside of my legs just gets gunked up and knotted up and piano wire tight, and it just, everything there just gets gunked up so bad. If I were to try and squat with a safety bar just by itself, same weight, 4 sets of 20, there would be so much more negative stress, I believe, on my body, because I wouldn't be able to move through the range of motion. As soon as something got tight, I would either get stuck there or I would try to move away from it and put weight where it doesn't need to be. This allows me to go through the range of motion, and it's one of the best things for me that I've found with my recovery day. My recovery day usually consists of leg press, really close stance, almost like my heels are touching, band weight only, and I'll do sets of 50. I'm just starting back up on these again, so it's 4 sets of 50 and just a light band. When I was really into it, getting close to competition, it was 6 sets of 50 with probably 2 or 3 bands on. The whole purpose for that is it just helps it's good for my leg health. Like, there's no real reason, like, I don't feel like quads are a huge mover in the squat or deadlift. They help, but everything on the rear chain is the major movers. But I've always had knee problems as long as I've been an adult, or probably even at an adolescent, I've had knee problems. And this super high weight, high band tension, low rest just fills, my quads, my knee, just fills everything with blood, and it just aids in that recovery process for me. I usually follow that with marching in place, and then followed by a hold on the belt squat, and then that's the Hatfields. Hatfields is usually the third thing, and then reverse hyper, and then something for hamstrings and cardio and abs. Like, that's my recovery day. This has been the formula that has helped me recover, and I'd suggest giving it a try on on a recovery day or at the end of your squat day. Just do Hatfield squats with just like a 25 or even the 45 pound plate on the bar, and go through some really high reps and really stretch it. Like I stretch past, like I said, I stretch past the depth that I would go to normally, and I also go back past, like my shins aren't parallel or up and down anymore. My knees are actually behind my ankles, kind of like on a box squat. So yeah, that's how I approach my recovery days. This is something I never did before, and since starting up with Shane and doing conjugate, going from a 4-day training split to a 6-day training split where I have a recovery day for lower and a recovery day for upper, it enabled me to increase my workload. I would say my workload has doubled since I started with Shane, and I've been able to recover from it. And in turn, he's put almost 200 pounds on my total in just under 2 years. So take that for what it is, give it a try, and if you're a powerlifter and you're looking for a really good coach that uses conjugate, absolutely hit up Shane Sweat. He has put a lot of weight and a lot of positive thought into my total, and he has absolutely taken my mindset from someone who was okay with not really pushing past what I was at to thinking I can be top 5 in my weight class. That's something that 5 years ago I never would have thought was going to be in my scopes, or in my scope, my sights, and now it is. So yeah, try the Hatfields. You're looking for a good coach, hit up Shane Sweat. Thanks.